Welcome to One Word a Day. I'm Sophia, pilot into the universe of Chinese. Today's next speak is 相当炸裂, and here is the full expression. So by next speak means somebody is repeating using the same phrase, and in this case, it's repeatedly using the same sentence, except you just plug in this cha-cha, this blank part. This is a variable, and then it's 放在整个叉叉界也是相当炸裂的. Okay, so pretty lengthy. So it becomes a fixed sentence. People are going to use the same expression, and then you just switch out. 叉叉界 means in the space of, or in the field or circle or industry of, when you view it, benchmark against the whole industry, 相当炸裂 is extremely explosive or shocking. So 炸裂 is kind of new, because when I grew up in China, I don't ever hear people say 炸裂 as a expression of something is, because nowadays we're bombarded with information, with shocking things, right? So, clickbait become every day. So we're getting baited all the time. So what would be considered explosive? So that the level of baiting, the level of eyeball grabbing efforts have to escalate. And eventually people go to this explosion thing and cracking it open, like a pretty extreme action words to describe, okay, in the whole domain of so-and-so, even against that background, this is extreme. This is considered explosive. All right. 相当, I translate as assess. Basically, it's a tree, an eyeball. So that in a hunter-gatherer society, humans have to judge or assess the tree to see if it's a good material for building or is a food source to use. So this assess is basically placing humans in this biosphere. The tree symbolizes the whole bio that we need to figure out, the environment. So this is environment agent, and the agent have to make assessment, therefore adopt the best strategy to navigate in this environment. Okay, so that's assess. Then we have the farm field. So this oval shape with quadrants in it means farm field. So Chinese ancient times, households each were assigned to a piece of land, a lot. And this cutting this bigger piece of land into smaller piece of land, basically saying it's household level of piece of land, and that is the farm field, because ancient times majority of the population is farm hands. Okay, the top is 上, means you're praising about something. So this praising have this upward pointing. You can see this almost like a finger pointing up, and this needle thing pointing up. And then we have a separation. So it's almost like the air is almost like a rocket, right? Shooting up, and then the air is being split apart. And then you have a mouth, so your voice, you're verbalizing something that's upward going. So you're praising something, means you appreciate, admire something. And then when you admire or appreciate a farm field, is an ancient time of, I guess, valuation of major property back then, because farm fields is a productive input. You want to assess if this farm field is a good piece of land, right? So this assessing and then sing praise to this farm field means when you assess that farm field, you kind of, if you want to do a trade thing, you're singing praise of the field so that you can do a swapping of land, piece of land, something like that. And eventually it becomes equal, means when you're assessing the two pieces of land, you're saying they are equally productive or nutritionally rich for farming. So that becomes equal. So when you put 相当, you're definitely assessing, right? You're benchmarking against something and you're assessing that, on that dial, and then you stop at a certain level. And eventually this 相当 becomes this assess, but on the extreme end. So even if it started as neutrally assessed, and in fact, it means like landed at number 5, right? 当 means equal. It's middle road, and assess as being equal. But eventually it becomes the extreme end, assessed as the outlier, something. So 相当 is a Chinese way to say very much. Okay, 炸裂, 炸 is explosion. So we have the fire symbol on the left side, and we have the death symbol on the right side. So the death symbol also carry the meaning of all of a sudden. So I'm not sure, like ancient times when people die, do they pass away like instantly, like drop dead? I'm not sure, but here is, according to scholars, saying this is a human figure getting close to the ground. So this is a human figure, and the horizontal line is the ground level. And then we have this curved line there to show the trend, the dynamic there. It's a human dropping to the ground. And I'm not sure if like dropping dead was a thing in ancient times, given the limited medical condition, supportive system back then. And this death also have the meaning of suddenness. I would consider a sudden death a good death, right? Compared with contemporary, medically supported, low quality life, this chronic death is more torture than a sudden death. So anyways, this sudden paired with fire, cone shape sparkles means explosion. Sudden fire, explosion. Makes sense, right? Okay, 裂. We have the knife symbol on the right side, and then we have the bone with a hair in there. So this supposedly to be ancient times practice of kind of like a butchering. You're knifing or carving the meat off the bone, and which still have the hair, this 3 anti-gravity outward pointing irregular shape is the hair. Okay, so you're carving the meat of supposedly animal bone, right? I don't think Chinese are big into cannibalism. Okay, so this bone carving plus the clothing actually means the fabric carving actually means the piece of small strips of fabric you cut out of the pattern, which is the leftover pieces that you're not going to use. I'm not sure if you have cut and sew something yourself. I've done. I spent years learning how to make clothing, my former life. And then it got weird shapes, right? Because you're trying to follow the pattern. Imagine you're making a pants, I guess, especially a pants, got these weird shapes. And then the remainder part of it, but because when you cut it, you have to cut it on the grain as well. So the hold of the fabric can hold the best weight, right? The whole thing about, I think, geez, I forgot, like the whole industry, the whole fashion industry is about have this already industrialized, perfected, optimal way to lay out the fabric, a whole stack of fabric, and then machine cut according to the shape, right? And then all that leftover strips of fabric, which is no use, and which is this. This is the carved out leftover fabric that whoever didn't make it onto a piece of garment, that's 裂. And eventually this leftover fabric became this crack because we can see this is like not a full piece of things. This is bits of things left over, and it's fragments of things. And so it's reasonable to take on the meaning of a crack, which is fragment, right? Okay, so 相当炸裂. In short, it become contemporary way to say shocking. I mean, it's really not hard to, it's not easy to shock anybody nowadays, right? Because we have seen like overexposure of information, of sensations, of clickbait. So when we say 相当炸裂, it gotta be real shocking, right? So the shock bar go just so high now. So this is something that kind of cracked me up so much last night. I was preparing this. As a Western audience, you probably didn't pick it up immediately, but this looks like a fish soup. The thing here, you see a pattern. This is not natural. This is man-made pattern. This is a special thing, I guess, when I came over to the US, American consumers don't even wear this. This is the thing that we use as a pad in your shoes. So at least back then, when we wear shoes, we don't wear directly, put on your socks, put in your shoes. No, there is an extra layer or cushioning between your socks and the sole of your foot. So this is that thing supposed to be made from fabric and running threads over it. So the several layers of fabrics and the cushioning material will stick together. That fell into the soup. I guess this is the shoe pad from the cook or somebody in the kitchen. And this is a totally food safety fiasco, right? And then when this got publicized, people commenting that when a woman dined out in this restaurant, she encountered this shoe pad, totally not hygienic, right? In the fish soup, the whole thing, almost like you cannot see it because it looks similar color, almost similar pattern. So I guess the waiter didn't even take notice of that either. And the customer found it, and it's a shocker, right? And then the restaurant, the boss of the owner of the restaurant said, the chef, one is stewing the fish, carelessly dropped the shoe pad into the dish, which is like a shoe pad hanging over. I mean, who does that? What kind of practice is that? That you have at the kitchen and you have your socks hanging, not your socks, your shoe pad hanging over there. And this is happening in northeast part of China. And the whole thing becomes very comical. Like it's too extreme, become comical. And then somebody using this pattern that we just learned today, 在整个餐饮界 mean in the whole restaurant industry 都相当炸裂. So this level of food security or level of service came out this way. It's 相当炸裂, super explosive. Like this is even a shocker in the whole industry. There you go. 相当炸裂. Thank you for your time. See you another